Welcome to this video entry on mobile and remote access, a subsection of Cisco's collaboration edge architecture. A lot of the things Cisco has been doing recently in the collaboration sphere has been more of an amalgamation of so many different devices, and of course that introduces a lot more complexity. Fortunately, the Expressway-C and E deployment doesn't appear to be overly complex, but because of the nature of the security requirements, it could potentially be a case where any little mistake could cause a priority 1 incident. This is predominantly one of the reasons why I'm going to be deploying these servers today. It is with a view of deploying it for the purpose of extracting logs from the servers and basically trying to gain a deeper understanding of how the services and processes work under the hood. I think it's the minimal requirement if one expects to be able to differentiate a problem, for instance a caveat, and it can be quite frustrating when one does not understand the product to the extent of being able to determine when something appears to be abnormal, because when one can't do that, of course one cannot necessarily speak to the good folks at Cisco to report a potential defect or bug or so on and so forth. However, this is definitely a grand project that Cisco's embarked on, and so far everyone's very excited about it, including me. And so today we're going to be deploying it. Cisco's promise is that almost everything that you have access to within a corporate LAN, you should be able to have access to it when you're out and about without need for VPN, and everything is automatically and transparently secured, working beautiful. So I'm going to start off with I'm going to come back to this shortly, but I'm going to start off with what we actually have already on the LAN in order to determine whether we're able to migrate those things from the LAN to when we're remote, out and about. Okay, so I'm just going to pull up a few servers, a few machines. Actually, let me just take you to the VMware deployment, just to show you what we have in the infrastructure. We have an Active Directory server. We have an SQL database which acts as the persistent chat room DB. I'll come back to that. We have we have a Cisco Unity Connection version 10, though it's marked as 9, CUCM 10, and IM&P 10. We've got Expressway-C and Expressway-E. We've got also a web server which hosts our pictures, and we also have a certificate authority and of course 2 host machines. Having said that, I think the next thing we need to look at now is the actual deployment. Here's our first machine. We talked about the persistent chat, which is being supplied by this SQL database here. So this is the persistent chat. Of course, Cisco is still developing the persistent chat. The Java client cannot, as of yet, create rooms, as of the last time I checked. And so as a result, we have other third-party IM clients for the creation of persistent chat rooms, which is this. So PSI is what I've been using to create the persistent chat rooms, and if I can just close this window, and I've also got other third-party clients as well. So this is what we have. We're able to chat. That is Dr. Brown chatting with jack. He's also able to join a chat room, which you can see a while back he was able to send some messages, and he's been able to return to the chat message or to the chat room, persistent chat rooms. He's got access to voicemail, and he can also establish video calls. But just to show that, we'll first of all show his video. He's currently using a virtual camera, and that is his video that he's going to be streaming or sending across in the communication that's about to ensue. So he gives Mr. Jack back a call, also answers the call, and we see here we can show a video, and we can stop the video, or we can start the video, and that's the picture of the remote party. Now the pictures are being supplied via this web server as mentioned before. This web server here, Jabba is pulling the pictures of the roster or the friend list using this Jabba XML configuration file, widely available everywhere. I believe there is even a Jabba config generator as well, which is excellent. So the first line, we're saying phone service, use the credentials of the same credentials that was used for presence. No need to, bother the user. We're saying Jabba persistent chat is enabled, hence the reason why you can see the persistent chat rooms, group chat, persistent chat rooms on the side of the Jabba. SIP URI is enabled, so potentially dial URIs as well. We're also saying for pictures, we need you to go to this URL, which is ca.labs.com, which is my IIS server, and we say go to a directory called pictures, and when you get in there, type the user ID, the summer account name as obtained from LDAP, and append.png, and whatever you find there is the picture. And also, when you're outside the network and you can't access LDAP, use UDS and append the user ID again, prefix the user ID, and then append .png. Just to test that, summer account name for the picture. We'll quickly jump over to web server, which I believe is this one as well. It's also our security server, CA, Certificate Authority, and go to HTTP and colon // localhost. Just put localhost because I don't need it to resolve its own name. Localhost.picture.jbat. JBAT is a SAMA name of a user, and it pulls up that picture. That's exactly the same thing that Jabba did. So we can access that all on the LAN. Let's take it to Expressway now. Let us start deploying Expressway. Let us see how much of all of this Jabba is able to access securely. Okay. Alright. So the very first thing, but before I take you to the actual Expressway-C and E server, maybe we should just do a quick install of the actual server, which takes about 5 minutes. It's incredibly easy, thanks to Cisco. I believe that is part of the path they're seeking to follow, deploy. And I've uploaded my Expressway 8.1x OVA, and I'll just say next, and next, and then accept, and next, and next, and then next again, and one more next after selecting my host server, and then another next, and then another next. Okay, 1 second, I'll change the theme provisions, and then next again, and then next, IP address, I'll just first provide the IP address of the device, and then next, and you can see ready to complete. As soon as I say power on after deployment, so essentially you actually configure it and power up for it, and I can get back to that login screen that I had. It'll be a blank configuration, but the install is really that easy. So we're not going to go there, we're going to go back to our web page. Alright, so we're logged into our web page. And that is our Expressway-E. I'm going to log into the C now, which is here. And the very first thing I would like to do is, after deploying just like that, we'll go to DNS, add the host name of the device and the domain name that is residing in, labs.com on this occasion, and the IP address of the DNS server that is going to be serving its requests. Go to time, put the NTP server, network time protocol server, that's going to be supplying it time, and just press save. Of course, because we already have DNS, we can write the DNS name here. I need to resolve, and of course we are currently synced with our NTP server, so primary things are done. The next thing, getting more closer to our configuration, is zones. And sorry, my mistake. Next thing is domains. So I want to create some domains that we're going to be using for IM and presence, for the mobile and remote access. So we're going to call it labs.com, which is what I have on the internal network. We'll create that domain. Okay. And before I do something, I'll quickly come and turn on mobile and remote access first, because when I created that domain, it didn't give me the ability to do what I'm about to do now. So if I go back to domains, and I'll click on the domains again, and now it tells me, do you want to have phones register and provision via this domain to call manager, and phones that come in via the Expressway. Do you also want to have presence services, IM and presence? I want to say yes to that, and then I'm going to go back to where I was previously, which is unified communications. So they will have mobile and remote access enabled. Now before I go any further, I need to explain that on my call manager and IM and presence server, I have also regenerated their certificates, and I've signed it using my certificate authority, which is residing within my Active Directory domain. So if I were, for instance, going to try to add a unified CM server, and they were trying to, and these servers went and tried to establish communication, and what would happen there is that the authentication would fail, because the certificate, the Tomcat certificate of the present server would not be identifiable to the Expressway-C, unless, however, I had already gone to maintenance, security certificates, trusted CS certificates, and just basically went to browse, and I went to my CS certificate that was provided me either in real life would be my server admins or my certificate authority certificate provider. So I've already done that, I've uploaded that, and if we show that certificate, show and decode, there we go, it was open all along. So we can see there that it was signed by my root CA within my Active Directory domain. Okay, so that means now that even if the IM&P presented with a certificate, he will be able to understand or verify the certificate, because he has the root certificate, the certificate of the root CA, so he can actually verify the certificate that is being presented by IM&P. So we're going to quickly rush over and just go and start adding our servers. So UN, we've verified mobile remote access, then want to add the servers to it, I'll go to Unified CM. I'll go to CUCM 9.labs.com, even though it's a 10. CCM admin. I'll say TLS verify mode on. So that's TCP active. It's found that. Go to IM&P. We add it. imp.labs.com and go to username CCM admin. Add that. I'll say TLS verify mode on. Okay. Address lookup succeeded. Inserted it. It's currently inactive. Reason being the traversal zone is yet to be brought up. Okay, so we've got that lovely piece of information. The next thing we want to do is we want to start establishing. The C has established communication with the internal network. Now it needs to start making its way out to the external network. First step is Expressway-E. Expressway-E communication with Expressway-C is fully encrypted, fully secure. So obviously we're going to be using server certificate. So we'll go back to generate a server certificate for communication with C, especially, and of course if also we want to speak to other entities with non-network too. So we'll go to server certificate, and previously I had one, but I'm going to generate a new one. I'm going to generate a new service request, certificate sign-in requests. We can see here that our presence chat mode alias has been automatically populated, because of course when I was adding the IM&P I used the Axel admin, so it was able to pull DB of the IM and pull that information automatically populated here. So to confirm that, we'll log in. We'll go to messaging and we'll go to group chat and group chat server alias mapping, and we'll check here. We see it's exactly the same name, so that is the name that it got there. So we'll go back to C. Next thing it's asking for is phone security, unified CM phone security profile names for phones that are in secure mode. So we log into call manager. I'm going to security phone security profile, and then go to .com. The name of the profile is in FQDN format as advised by Cisco, due to the fact that certain security signing entities, certificate signing entities might not appreciate our phone security profile not being presented in FQDN format, hence the reason why Avatar appended labs.com to the end of it. So that's that, and this additional information here are just the information you'd see in, for instance, your certificate. There we go. So there we go. The additional information is what we have here. So that is not a big deal. Populate as required, as always, as in regular call manager installs. We get that all the time. So we're going to generate that request. Then we're going to download it. We're going to open. So we're going to obtain our server certificate for the Expressway-C, and we're going to go to our Microsoft. I'm going to say I'm going to request a new certificate It's going to be an advanced certificate. It's going to be a base 64. On page certificate requests, I'm going to ask for a server and client certificate. I'm going to download the certificate. I'm going to call it Cert underscore CE EX 01, and then we're going to save that. I'm going to log in. Maintenance. Server certificate. Browser certificate. And upload that. Okay, so that's successfully loaded. And the next thing I want to do is restart server. We're going to go to our Expressway-E, and we're going to go to zones. I'm going to be deleting this traversal zone. It's previously created. And I'm going to go to unified communications. We're going to enable mobile and remote access. The next thing I want to do is to generate certificate. Of course, I have the trusted root certificate here. Generate a server certificate. In order to generate a server certificate, I would have to populate the unified communications manager domains. Domains can be configured on CUCM, and in this case is labs.com. We're going to need to configure the IM&P node alias as was displayed previously here. We're going to go down and fill out the basic details, additional information, fill it as suits the company, and I'm not going to go about and regenerate that because we've already configured it on Expressway-C, so there's no point in duplicating that step. I'm going to go straight away to configure zones, a traversal zone between the VCS Expressway-E and C. So this is going to be a traversal server. And I'm going to create a username for Traversal client to use to authenticate with the server. I'm going to put a password there. I'm going to save that. I'm going to turn off H23, leave SIP on, Unified Communication Services. I'm going to say yes. You can provide Unified Communication Services. TLS is on. TLS verify is definitely on, which basically means when you check this, when you establish TLS communication. Also check whether the name of the endpoint actually matches the name on the certificate. So the name and endpoint I'm going to specify is, or the Expressway-C is Expressway-C.labs.com. Gotta double check this. Any little typo will make everything fail, and there is one there. And another. So we're gonna have Expressway-C.labs.com on that. Leave everything else as default. I'm gonna create a zone. Hold on. Oh, sorry. TLS, we have to TLS verify is false. Where is that? Yeah, media encryption mode is forced. Open that up. I'm going to copy this port. You're going to see the call manager is up, it's back. Okay, brilliant. Admin. We're going to log in. Configuration. Just double check the zones. They're in there. I'm going to actually delete that. Call manager zone automatically created after the discovery of call manager via the mobile remote access configuration. Automatic configuration there. And we go to client. We call this Traversal. CUCM admin. We'll turn it off. We're going to copy that same port that we using on the Traversal server side. We're going to enable unified communications and set TLS to on. I'm going to force media encryption. And we're going to specify the name of the Expressway-C. Expressway-E.labs.com. I'm going to create that zone. Have I? Is there an oversight somewhere? Yep, there is. Okay. So that traversal zone has failed. I'm going to refresh that. Okay. System is unreachable. DNS resolution failed. So brilliant. So it was a typo on my part. A lot of the GUI error messages and syslog messages, I found them to be quite useful. Okay, so our traversal zone is up. Hence, we've fully configured mobile and remote access. Whatever is remaining now, well, it's just well, I wouldn't say fully configured. You got to configure the allow list for like our HTTP connections to the different services within the network. So I'm gonna create that on the Expressway-C Unified Communications. And here we're going to say HTTP allow list, and I've got a few allow lists that are previously populated. ca.labs.com, which is where the photos are being located. Recall the java.xml config file. If I put it here, ca.labs.com, and also Cisco Unity connection, HTTP connection to Cisco Unity connection for voicemail. So that more or less does it for us. Let's commence testing. Now, in order to simulate the external network, how Java client knows that it's an external network is when it can't resolve underscore login and underscore Cisco-UDS. However, if it can resolve or locate a service request for Collab Edge, it will determine that it's on the external network. So what we're going to do today is simulate a scenario where the Java client is unable to resolve anything except the Collab Edge service request. So when it sends a request out for that, it will get it, and this is how we're going to achieve it. We're going to go to this .19 server, which is this server. It's actually also a DNS. We're going to first of all tell it, it's currently looking at the other Active Directory DNS server. We're going to first of all tell it to stop doing that and start looking at itself. The reason being is that it only knows Collab Edge 127.0.0.0. The reason being is that this DNS server only has Collab Edge configured as an SRV record, so it can't resolve CUP login for Java client. So obviously Java will think it's on the external network. All we have to do is just point the Java client to this DNS server. So I'm just gonna ipconfig flush DNS. I'm gonna go on the actual DNS itself and flush it, and I'm going to go to cmd ms lookup. Let me actually zoom into that. So I'm going to say ns lookup, okay, default server. I'm going to set the query type, set type to SRV. Service request is going to be CUP login, which is what Java would request for when it's trying to check if it's internal. tcp.labs.com. Cannot find the host, which is our intention. And the next thing we'll do is collab.edge then underscore TLS. It can resolve that, and it's telling us to go to the Expressway. So now we're going to go to the Java client. Which is at .16. And the very first thing I'm going to tell the Java client to, Java was formerly on-prem, so we're now about to take it off-prem. We're going to do that by changing the DNS server that resolves IP addresses for it, so it can no longer find its local server, or local internal IM&P rather. It will have to be forced to go to the Expressway-E. And I'm going to tell it to go to .19, which is that server we just came out of. The next thing to do is to completely log out Java. I'm even going to go to the services and try and delete it. Actually, Actually, I'm going to delete everything pertaining to Java. That way we know that there is no cheating. Okay, resolve that to Expressway. Okay, so we're going to go into C. We're going to delete everything pertaining to Java. We're going to leave nothing, so there is no spokes and mirrors. Cisco. I'm going to delete the entire unified communications folder, and that is for local data. I'm going to go to roaming data as well. No smokes and mirrors, just pure deletion. Okay, so we'll open Java. Java doesn't know where it is. dbrown.labs.com. Java asks me for a password. Press the login, and Java logs in. Notice that the pictures have all changed, and as you can see, it shows that we have access to the pictures. The group chat is available, all the rooms. Can we join the room? Yes, we can. Can we chat in the room? Yes, we can. And another thing, voicemail. Java is not connected to voicemail server. Okay, so let's find out why Java is not connected to the voicemail server. Actually, let's come from the voicemail server. CUCM&IM&P. Okay, let's see if we can ping this. Go to server, and we'll go to DNS, go down to query, DNS utility, and we know this is a record, and we say look out for us, and it can't find it, but it looks like Java is trying to connect to the IP address. So go back to Unified Communications, and we'll go to HTTP allow list, and we'll add a new one, which is this, and we'll call it Unity Connection. Create the entry, and let's go back to Java. Java is still saying I'm not connected. So I'm just going to sign out and sign back in. Force that connection. Okay. There you go. It's gone from not connected to connected right before our eyes. So Java is now connected. We have group chat. We have, and to confirm what Java is connected to, we go to show connection status. You can see here it's connected to Cisco IP phone service, and you can see it's connected via the Expressway, and it's connected to voicemail. You can see there it was actually trying to connect to the IP. It wasn't trying to connect to the host name as the case is here. So it is connected, HTTPS, and it's also connected to the presence, and it's connected to the Expressway. As expected, we've lost connection to our internal directory, which is fine because we're using UDS. And to prove that, we'll go to admin, see if we can still see all those users. There we go, we can still see them. And I'll go to Jack.